Right, gents, another workshop special. Today we're going to perform a oil and filter change on a CBF 500. I'm going to run you through the necessary steps to do so. You probably already know yourself because it's so basic and simple. Anyway, I'm going to run through it. So, oil and filter change. The tools you're going to need is just a 3/8 ratchet with a extension and an oil filter claw on it. Makes it much easier. A 17mm socket for the sump plug. And we have, today we're going to use a K&N air filter and multiple, I said oil filter, didn't I?
You said air filter.
Oh, oil filter. And a how many litres is that? 4 litres of 10W40 multiple oil and a measuring jug to know how much oil we're putting in, and obviously a pan to catch the old oil in. So let's crack on with this, and I'll be over the bike in a minute. Oh, and forgot to say, get some gloves as well, because you're going to be dealing with oil in here and you don't exactly want to get this shit all over your hands. Right, so first things first is to remove the oil filter. Obviously this is where the claw comes in handy, because this oil filter is super tight, because I've already tried. I've just cracked it off for demonstration purposes so it'll run more smoothly, but it was super tight. You definitely need this claw, and most of the time you'll never get this off by your hand. So as you can see, 3/8 ratchet there. Doing this with one hand, and there we go. Once it's pretty much cracked off like so with the claw, you can pretty much reach in there, hopefully. Yeah, go on, you do it.
Ah, cunt! Come on!
Yeah, there we go. Oil filter's cracked off.
She's free.
And might as well just spin this off first, and we put some rag there over the headers as well, because you don't want really much oil going on them, because it's just going to smoke like crazy when you go to start it up. So whilst that's just dribbling out, next things next rather, is to get the sump plug undone and drain the oil. Right guys, I've just undone the sump plug. As you can see, it is there. That's a 17mm sump plug, so you need a 17mm socket, and I choose a 3/8 ratchet. It was fairly tight, but certainly you could get it undone. And the location of the sump plug is right there, so you can't really go wrong. So whilst that's slightly draining the remains of the oil, I'll cut to some hoonage up Burnham Crouch, or wherever we were at the time. Right guys, so once all the oil was pretty much drained out, don't stress too much. You won't actually get every single drop of oil out, so when it's pretty much stopped dripping, that's as far as you're really going to go. So I'm going to put the sump plug back in now. So with this sump plug, it actually has a crush washer on it. Really you're supposed to replace this crush washer, however we don't have one, so we're going to have to reuse it. But I strongly advise, when you're screwing this sort of sump plug into an aluminium sump, you do replace this washer. But needs must, we don't have one, so we'll have to put it back in as it is. And the torque setting for this is...
as hard as you can.
Taff. No, what is it? The torque setting for this, it's somewhere in this book. Oil drain plug, 35 Newton meters if you're just wondering. So that's just, if you have a torque wrench, that's just what you need to tighten it up to. However, we don't, so we're just going to
wing it.
Go by feel, yeah. Right guys, so next things next is to screw the new oil filter on. We're using a K&N one, really good. You've got a nut up the top, so it's easy to remove the next time you change it, and it's just a general high quality oil filter. Anyway, so what you've got to do, just put some oil over the top O-ring. Makes it much better to screw on, creates a better seal because obviously the O-ring will slide over the face of the block, much better. And also, before you screw this oil filter on, you must check the face of the block to make sure the old existing O-ring from the old oil filter ain't left on there. If it is, and you screw this new oil filter on, it's going to double ring it, and it is just going to leak like crazy when you go to start the engine up. I've seen that done many times on cars and whatnot. So yeah, so oil filter lubed up. Don't worry about filling it up with oil because it's just going to spill everywhere because this is obviously going on horizontally. And then just screw it on, and yeah, can't really go wrong. Make sure you don't cross thread it.
Look at that.
And as you say, these oil filters don't really need to be that tight. I think even in the book it states it's 10 Newton meters. So really you just do it up with your hands. You don't really need that nut up the top to do it up. It's just overkill, and just makes it much harder to get off for the next time you want to change it anyway. So just do it up with your hands, and that's about it. Right guys, so next is to get the oil in the bike. So our oil filter's tight, our sump plug is tight, and we're using, obviously, as I said earlier, our measuring jug so we can put the correct amount of oil in the bike. And I think it said in the book it's 3.1 litres, and yeah, so we're obviously going to be 3 of these and an extra 100 mils. So let's get cracking and put the oil in it. Right guys, so we've put 3.1 litres of oil in the engine. Try not to do what I've done and spill loads on the floor. It's just a bit of over spillage. So we're going to fire the bike up, let it run for a few seconds to fill up the filter, recheck the oil and see what it's, and if it needs some we'll top it up, or if it don't then we'll just leave it. So cool. Yeah, just letting it run for a few seconds to fill up the filter, and then we'll turn it off, let it sit for about 3 minutes, recheck the oil on the dipstick there, and then put some more oil in it if need be, but it shouldn't do because it does say 3.1 litres in the book with an oil filter, so that's pretty cool. Right guys, so after we've run up the engine, obviously we've rechecked the oil, let it sit for 3 minutes, we then rechecked the oil, and the oil level was perfect, there was no need to put any more oil in it. So yeah, I mean, that was an oil and oil filter change on a CBF 500. Anyone can do this, there's no need to take it to a bike shop for them to do this. It is a complete do-it-yourself job, and all it requires is obviously a new crush washer for the sump plug. It must have really, but obviously we didn't use one because we didn't have one at the time. A new oil filter, and just 4 litres of oil will do you fine. And all it requires is literally just a 3/8 ratchet with a 17mm socket for the sump plug, a small extension and a oil filter claw. Makes it obviously much easier to get the oil filter off, unless obviously you've got one of these K&M ones already on there, and you obviously a nut on there, but you can easily screw it off. But other than that, you could easily do it for yourself, and hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I'll see you next time.